Today I'll share with you step by step how I created these 6 professional Amazon product photos, all from these 4 images that I took with my phone. Let's get started. First, we'll need a computer to edit these photos on, a phone capable of taking pictures at 6 megapixels or higher, which just about every cell phone has that nowadays. We'll need our product, which is this butane lighter that I'm showing you, in some form of external lighting. Now I know what you're thinking, the external lighting is definitely a non-beginner friendly option here. However, the external lighting, although it's optional, I highly recommend it because this is one of the most important parts of the process, and it can take your product photos looking like this the whole way to this. The only difference between these 2 photos is that this one was taken with a light on it and the other was not. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to find a table or some flat surface to place my product on with a solid background. If your product shares similar colors with your table, such as my product in this black surface, simply put a piece of paper underneath it. It's very important to avoid direct sunlight here, so make sure you're in a room with artificial lighting and somewhere you can close the blinds. And the reason why we want to do that is because the sun can actually cast shadows onto the table or the whatever our product is on. It makes it very difficult to remove the background, which I'll share with you here in a second. We want to take 2 photos, front and back, of our product at a 45-degree angle, and 2, front and back also, at an aerial view. Okay, let's take some photos. So I recommend using your phone to take at least 4 photos, but honestly, the more that you can take, the better, because it gives you more options and more settings and backgrounds that you could use if you take it from different angles. So open your camera app on your phone and make sure to turn the flash off in the live setting if you have an iPhone. Position your camera like this and make sure the product is in focus. Try to get as close to the product as possible while keeping the product full in frame. Okay, so take the photo and then let's take another one at an aerial view. You'll see later on why we want to be taking these type of photos. Lastly, let's take the same 2 photos, but we'll flip the product around so the customer can see all sides of the product. Okay, so we have our 4 images. Let's head over to the computer so we can upload those photos and we can import them into our software. So we'll be using a software that's online called Canva. You can access this by going to canva.com, and it's entirely free to use, although there are some pro features which I'll talk about in a little bit, but essentially you can complete these 6 product photos and much more with the free version that they offer you. So once you create an account and you log in, we'll start off by creating a design in the upper right hand corner. And once we select that, we can select some suggested templates, or we can go ahead and we can create our custom size template, which is what I recommend doing. Now we need to input our size of our photo. According to Amazon, this should be a square photo, meaning the length and the width should be the same. In addition to that, they recommend at least 1,000 pixels on either end. That way we can actually zoom in on the photo, which is a feature that we want. So I've always done 2,000 pixels by 2,000 pixels. I found this to be a nice balance between the photo size as well as enough clarity in the photo so it looks professional, clear, and the customer can clearly understand it. You can also change the units to inches, but again, just do 2,000 by 2,000, and you can actually do up to 10,000 by 10,000 if you really want. So let's select Create New Design. And here is our workstation. So this is the first photo. We can see it's just a blank state. And we can go ahead and we can add pages, which in our terms means to add another photo. On the left-hand side here, we have all these different tabs for elements, which will be our graphics. And then we can add text. We can upload things and draw different items on our photos. A lot of unique features on that left side there. We'll dive into the ones that are applicable to us today. But for now, let's go ahead. Let's give our project a name. I'm going to name this butane lighter photos. So feel free to name that anything that you want. And then let's go ahead and add all 6 of our images. So I'll click add page, and you can see up here it's saying page 3 or image 3. Let's do that until we have 6. So these are our 6 photos that we are going to create. And we should get started by adding those 4 images we took and upload them to Canva. So I will locate those 4 photos, which are in my downloads folder, and I'll drag and drop them to this left side here. You can see immediately once I do that, it will say drop files to upload, and it'll show me all the file formats and also document types. So let's drag and drop them there, and you can see those 4 are uploading. So this is a good point while these are uploading to discuss what these 6 images are going to be and how we'll end up using them. So this first image is going to be our main image according to Amazon's terminology. Now the main image is the one that has the white background and it clearly shows your product and possibly your packaging. This is the photo with the most restrictions since it has that white background, and you also can only do so many things as far as editing the photo. You cannot add any shadows to your product. You can't add any computer generated graphics to that first image. Now there are some exceptions, but this one has a lot of requirements that we need to meet. For images 2 and 3, this is really what I've done in the past, and I call these the main feature images. These are the second and third image that your customer is going to see, so it's very important for you to get the message across of how unique your product is and how quickly you can solve the problem for the customer. We'll use our product, we'll use some text, we'll also use some graphics to sell our main selling points and to highlight our unique competitive advantages to the customer. The next images are number 4 and 5, which are going to be lifestyle images. If you're not sure what these are, this is showing the product placed in a real life environment. That way your customer can see, okay, that's how this product is going to be used, and it gives them some ideas of how they can use that product. And the last image, number 6, I typically use this image to show the product dimensions, the packaging, and or what's going to be in the box. This is going to change which one of these 3 you select based on what your product is, and does it make sense to show the dimensions? Does it make sense to show the packaging? That's really going to be up to you. For today's demonstration, I'm going to show the product dimensions and show you how to create a photo like that. All right, so image number 1, this is the one with the white background, the main image. The first thing we need to do is we need to take one of our photos and we need to remove the background. So I'm going to look at all 4 of these photos and see which one would be the best for this type of photo. I think one of your aerial photos is going to be the best, so let's go ahead and select this. Now the issue is we need to remove this background from this so we just have a nice clean white background. There's 1 or 2 ways you can do this. One is to use AI, which if we go ahead and we select the image, we select edit image, there's a Magic Studio option here, which is background BG remover. Now, back in the day, we had to go through and edit this photo ourselves, which I'll show you here in a second. But nowadays, we can go ahead, we can use AI, and just with a click of a button, we can remove the background from this image, leaving us just with our product. And if you look at the edging on it, it does a great job of removing that perfectly. So that would be my recommendation. Now, the catch here is that this is a pro feature, which costs you about $10 to $15 per month, depending on the plan you select. I do recommend doing it, even if you just do it for a month. Spending $10 to $15 can really save you a lot of time. Now, with that being said, I do want to show you the free option, so you can do this for absolutely free. What I want you to do is to download a software which is open source, meaning it's free, called GIMP, G-I-M-P. Simply go to gimp.org, as you can see here, and then you can go to download. Now this works for both Apple products as well as Mac products, so go ahead and select the right download file, and then once you have that downloaded, make sure you install it and open it up. Once you've opened up GIMP, this is going to look very confusing. You're going to have no idea where to look, but don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this, even if you have no graphic design or photo editing experience. So we'll go ahead, we'll find our image that we just took a look at, which was this one, and we'll drag and drop it into this workspace. So we can see our image right here, and if we zoom out, we can see the image in full frame. So the first thing we want to do is I want you to right-click the image and click Add Alpha Channel. Now, I'm not 100% sure what that actually means as far as graphic design terminology, but this will allow us to have the transparent background, so it just leaves the product once we go ahead and we select the product and we delete everything outside of the product. All right, so now the idea here is we're going to select all these different markers around the product, and then we're going to delete everything outside of that view. That way, everything in white that we see here, including the shadow, disappears. To do that, the easiest way is to go up here to the upper left-hand corner, select Free Select Tool, and then you can begin clicking. Now, the more times you click, the more accurate and the better looking the picture is going to be. So it's best to do as many as you can, but obviously don't take too much of your time doing this, but Just go through the process of doing this, and then we will show you what to do next. So once you've closed your loop and you click that last point there, if you click delete, it's going to delete everything that you just selected. So we'll make sure we go back, and we want to do the opposite, right? We want to delete everything outside of the photo. To do that, simply click Control and then I, which is like for an invert. So it's going to invert what we just did, and then click delete. And there we have it. So it's very similar to what the AI software did for us previously, but this is just a free way that you can go ahead and do that. So to finish things off here, click File, Export As, and then we need to export this as a PNG file. Don't save this as a JPEG or this high efficiency file type that you see here. So backspace and put PNG. Make sure the folder is selected that you want to download it to. Click Export, and go ahead and click Export one more time. After a second, we can open up our picture that we just created, and there we have it. Okay, so back to our photo here. So for the main image, Amazon's requirements say that you have to have your product or your product and packaging comprise of more than 85% of the entire area of that photo. Now for smaller products like mine, from what I've noticed from my experience, it's not going to be possible for me to keep this product in frame as well as meet that 85% threshold. So don't worry about it too much. It's one of their, loose requirements, I would say, but just make sure it takes up the majority of the photo as best as you can. So I'm going to flip this around by using this little toggle here because my product is oriented this way. And then I want to edit this photo so it looks a little bit more professional. Very simply, we can go to Edit Image, go to Adjust up here, and then click Auto Adjust. So we can use their own computer program to brighten this up and to make it look a little bit more professional. You can always go down to these toggles and add more brightness if you think it needs more, or decrease it, and so forth. You have all of your different toggles very simply put here, so you really don't have to worry about doing anything very complex. So there we have it. There's one there. Now it's important for your main image to show the amount of products that the customer is going to receive. So for this example, let's say we're selling this butane lighter as a 2-pack. I don't want to just put one here. I want to go ahead and put 2 of these. So I will copy this and I will paste it. And I'll put it right next to it. So now the customer sees that there's 2 that they're going to receive. Now, if we wanted to go a step further, I would go ahead and I'd add a flame to each one of these products. This is one thing that it kind of contradicts itself again. If you go back to the requirements, you're not allowed to put any type of graphics on this main photo. However, I would recommend going to your Amazon first listing page for your niche and to see what the other sellers are doing, because this gives you an idea of what Amazon's going to approve. Fortunately for this product, I guess Amazon has a difficult time telling if it's a real flame or if it's a graphic flame, but all in all, I would recommend adding it for this type of product just because it shows the product in use and the customer knows that this is going to be a lighter and not a flashlight, for example. So I'm going to grab these and I'm going to size them down a little bit so I have some room for the flame. Okay, so put that there. And let's go ahead and we need to find a flame now. So let's click the Elements tab, which is a great way of finding any type of graphic or photo that you want. So we'll search graphics and we'll type in flame. Now it's going to give you different options: videos, photos, graphics. You can click See All for graphics, or you can just click this graphics tab. Now I want to find one that looks like a butane flame, which is typically blue. And I think this could work. So I'm going to click this and you'll see it pop up my workspace, the image number 1, and I'm going to size this down so it looks realistic. So I think right about there looks good. Yeah, so let's go with that. And then now we need to put this behind our product here. So go ahead and click that and then right click it, go down to layer, and then we're going to send this to the back. Think of all these images stacked on top of each other. That's what they define as layers. So it looks good there. Now we need to make this blue. So I'm going to select that again. I'm going to edit the image, and I'm going to use an effect down here called duotone. I could also go to adjust, and I could add different temperatures towards the blue range, but I found this way just to be a lot easier if you're trying to change the color of something. So we have all these different colors now with duotone. Let's go ahead and click peppermint, And then I'm going to change this to just a little bit more of a blue instead of a teal, kind of like that. Perfect. That looks realistic. All right, so let's go ahead and just resize this a little bit. Maybe to like here. See what that looks like. And you'll notice a lot of these photos, a lot of it's just trial and error, resizing things, changing the color of things to make sure that, you know, it all fits together. Okay, so let's select both of those, and we can group them if we want. If we click group, now it's just one image. Or we can select both and click copy and paste, and there we have it. Now we have two. Let's put this more in the middle, and now we have our official main image that will be the first thing that our customer sees. Okay, so that's 1 out of 6. Let's go ahead and let's do the second and third image, which is highlighting our main features. So for these photos, we can get more creative. We can add graphics, we can add photos. We can really do just about anything we want within Amazon's image policy. So I always add a background instead of this white background. I add something that adds an element to my product photos. So to add a background, I'm just going to go back to the Elements tab and then type in something such as classy background, because that's what the feel and experience I want my customer to have. So click graphics. And we can see all of these different classy backgrounds. So you can do some trial and error. You can click a couple, see how they look. Nice. Kind of like this one. Yeah, I think it's almost like wallpaper, but has some classy emblems. So let's resize this and position it directly in the center. You can see Canva does a good job of grid locking things directly to center. Now we'll go up here to the transparency tool here, and then I usually mark this down to 5. 5 is a good number that is just slightly visible and it's not distracting, but it's also, you know, visible enough for the customer to see. So that will be our subtle background there. I'm going to copy this as well, go down to page 3, which is our third image, and paste that because I want those two images to have the same background. Now the next thing to do is to add text. If you click the text tab here in Canva, you'll see a lot of different templates of some cool different fonts and how they position everything. So feel free to get creative, use their templates, or go ahead and add your own. To add your own, just click add a text box, and then you have thousands upon thousands of fonts here for you to choose. You can also add effects to that text by adding shadows, or you can lift it, or you can add an outline. So this is really up to you. I'm going to keep things simple today, and I'm going to select this first one here, which says recently used, and this will be our title and font format. So let's go ahead here. I want the first one to highlight my feature of how hot the flame is. So the temperature of the flame can actually get up to 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. So I want to highlight that to the customer because that's really a big problem for customers is they want a hot flame that immediately when they begin to use it, it's always there ready to go and it can quickly ignite whatever it is they're trying to light on fire. So we'll go here, we'll say up to 2,800 F for degrees Fahrenheit. We'll add the degree symbol there. And then this is more of a like kind of subtle feature here. I'm going to add large flame. So it's going to be a second feature that we highlight within this one photo. Now you can position this anywhere you want just by dragging and dropping it. I'm going to put this one up at the top here. Then we have to go ahead. Let's change the text color. So I think I'm going to go with a blue just because the butane flame is blue. It's an accent. I recommend your font color to be the color of your product or your packaging and or a secondary color to your product. Do not go outrageous and start using colors that don't even blend in with your product because it's going to be distracting and doesn't blend in well. So I'm going to use this royal blue and click this bottom one and change that color as well. Actually, maybe pretty cool if we do a lighter blue for the bottom one. No, we'll keep it the same. So I just clicked the undo button here. So there we go. We have our text. Now we have to add our product. So let's go back up here and simply let's just use this main photo again. The one that we used in the main photo. So there we have it. I'm going to group it this time so we don't lose the flame and it's attached as one image. And then I'm going to resize this by dragging the corner up. So let's put this right in the center as well. A little bit larger. There we go. So it shows the temperature of the flame, it shows the product in action, and then since I have this large flame here, I want to show a secondary feature, which is how large this flame can actually get. Now my product has a 3-inch maximum flame, so let's go ahead and let's add an arrow and then put 3 inches so the customer knows, yeah, this is a pretty big flame. So we'll go to Elements, and then where it says Shapes, click See All, and then we can just click any line. Now I'm going to drag a corner here, make sure that's 90 degrees, drag it to the top, and drag it to about this datum here. Okay, now let's add the endpoints here. So up here is our line color, line style, and our endpoints, which is named line start, line end. I'm going to use these because these are typically used for dimensions. I'm going to add some weight to the line so it's a little bit larger. We'll keep that solid, and then we'll see what this looks like as blue. Actually, we'll just keep it black. Make it a little closer, and then I'm going to add a text box and then put 3 inches. Now it's important that this font matches up with any font style you're using throughout your images just for it to look professional. This is impact and this top one's impact, so this is perfect. I'm going to shrink this a little bit, and then we'll do that. So it tells the customer, hey, this is a hot flame and this is a large flame as well. My main selling point for this product. For the next one, I want to show the customer that this has this easy light technology, which is the switch on the butane lighter. So let's go ahead and let's copy this text up here. I'm going to use the same format, except this time I'm going to drag this down to the bottom left, and then I'm going to position everything to be aligned to the left-hand side. To do that, we'll see alignment here. If you keep clicking that, you'll see all your different options. You'll see the text move left or right. And we'll do that for the bottom one too. So this top one, let's say easy, light, and then the bottom, we'll put technology. So now let's show the customer what this easy light technology looks like. To do so, I'm not going to use the same photo that we've been using. It's good to show your product from different angles for the customer to see. So let's go to our uploads, and then let's look at this image here. So same thing, let's use the AI feature, or you could use GIMP if you don't have it. Go to Edit Image, Background Remover. Once that removes the background here, we'll go ahead and we'll click Adjust, Auto Adjust to make it look a little bit brighter and nicer. Now, one thing you'll notice with these larger photos is it's best to crop it by dragging these lines right here. That way, when you click things, you can easily click at different things and it's not just always selecting this one photo. Okay, so now I'm thinking I want this lighter to come from the right-hand side, and then I'm going to use this circle grid, which I'll show you, just to highlight that switch feature. So first, let's angle this how we want it. So I want to kind of angle it here, and then I'm going to drag it here and enlarge it a little bit. So it's kind of popping out from the right-hand side here, which is always a good thing to do for photos. And then we can clearly see our switch right here. So that'll be the next thing we do. So let's add that circle here to highlight the main feature. Feel free to use this to really highlight features. I think it's a good way to zoom in on your product and show some type of special feature of your product. So I'm going to go to the Elements tab here. I'm going to scroll down until I see these frames. Click See All. And these are frames that they're shapes or they're type of devices, for example, where you can drag and drop photos into, and then you can do really anything you want with that photo by zooming in on it. So I'm going to use a circle here, and I'm going to position this right here for the customer to see. I'm going to add a border here, which will be blue. So let's increase that a little bit. Change the color here where it says border color. And there's our blue, which Canva does really nice when you use a color. It puts it in like the recently used up here. So now we can either take this photo and we can place it in here and then zoom in on the switch, or we can use another photo. Now, I didn't share this with you guys earlier in the video, but I did take another photo of me holding the lighter, which I think would be a good way of showing the customer how the product's used, and just it can really highlight this switch feature. So I already uploaded it, so I'll go to my uploads. You can see my hand here. go ahead and just drag this photo and drop it in there. And you can see it kind of cuts it like a circle. It places it within that shape. Now I want to zoom in on that area. First, I want to make sure I flip this. So I'm going to flip it horizontally. That way it's angled similarly to the product that's shown on the right-hand side here. And then I want to double click it and then drag it to enlarge it. That way we can really zoom in on that switch part right there. Now this is kind of dark, so I'm going to go to Edit Image, go to Adjust, and click Auto Adjust to see what the computer does. Looks pretty good. I'm just going to add a little bit more brightness down here. That way the customer can really see it. Now the second part you should always do, you should always show an arrow or something highlighting, all right, this is what I want the customer to focus on, this switch, and here's what it looks like up close. So let's go back to Elements, and then let's type in arrow. If you click graphics here, we'll see a lot of different arrows. So feel free to click one that looks good for this. Here's one here. I'm going to select color. I'm going to change this to the blue. And then now I need to reposition it. I could do that, but honestly, I think it's going to look better if I flip it vertically. Okay. And there we go. So now we have our two feature images showing and highlighting some of our unique features for our product. The last thing we want to do with these two photos is to do something that's really going to take this to the next level and really add some depth in our imagery. And that's to add shadows. To do so, I recommend going back to the Elements tab, just type in shadow and click Graphics. Now this shadow here is something I've been using, really for my entire Amazon career. There's also some different types that will make this a little bit easier on you. So what I want to do is I want to position this with how the light would be hitting this product. So I'm imagining a light is shining on this image right now. So I think the shadow would be directly behind the product. So I'm going to enlarge this a little bit. And then what we want to do is we want to position that with our product, right click it and send it to the back. Now you can see on the edges of the product, there's some depth. It looks like this lighter's actually there. It's actually casting a shadow on our background, which is what we want. So let's go down to the image number 3 and do the same thing here. Now this time, how my product is positioned, you can see the light right there. So if the light's hitting it right here, it's going to cast a shadow on the back side. If you are in doubt of where the shadow should go, just position it in different spots with your product, and then your eyes are going to tell you what looks correct and what doesn't. You don't have to be a graphic designer to know where to put these shadows, or an artist. Okay, so I just use a shortcut key to send that to the back, and now we can see that shadow casted onto the background, which looks great. Feel free to do that also with circular ones like this graphic here. We can throw that right there, click send to back. It adds even more depth now. So that looks a lot better than it did previously. And now we have our photos for number 2 and 3 complete. Okay, so images number 4 and 5. These two images, we want to create lifestyle images, as I mentioned before, where we're showing our product in a real life environment and or how it's actually used. So for this first picture, image number 4, I want to, portray a classy type of scenery and showing how the customer could be using this in one of those scenes. So I thought, some type of whiskey bar scene with a cigar would be a good scene here, or possibly lighting a candle. So let's see what we can find in the photos, and then we'll go ahead and we'll place our product in that product image. So we'll click photos here, and then we'll go up to the search bar. Let's type something along the lines such as whiskey and cigar for our 2 keywords. Now again, I'm looking for a scene that looks classy, where I could place my lighter in the scene, and there's plenty to go around here, such as this. I could do this and put my lighter here. However, I don't really have that angle of a shot that I took with my camera. So we need something either flat where we're at that aerial view, or one where we're at a 45-degree angle. So I found this photo, and I think this is exactly the environment I'm looking for. It has a table here where I can place my lighter, has the whiskey glass and a cigar that's already lit in what appears to be a whiskey bar scene. So that's exactly what I was looking for, and I think this will be the perfect picture. So I'm going to resize this image to put it as my background by just selecting the corners here and dragging it until it covers the entire frame. Now there is a stopwatch here, but I'm going to just remove that to the edge. So we have the majority of the table showing, we have the cigar, whiskey glass, and then we're going to place our lighter here. Now for our lighter, let's go back to the uploads. Let's find the one that we want to use. So we have to think, which one would actually look most realistic in this photo. I think this 45-degree angle one would work well. So I'm going to grab the other one where it's shown in full visibility here. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's remove the background as we've been doing. And then let's see here. Now, does that look realistic? Well, it looks a little bit large, so I'm going to shrink it down a little bit and then keep it right there. So yeah, that looks good. Let's go to adjust, click auto adjust, brightens it up a little bit. Okay, now another thing you can do just so this product looks like it actually fits in the scene more realistically, go back to edit image, go to adjust, and then you can toy around with the brightness, the temperature even here. Since this looks like a warmer scene, I can turn up the temperature so it blends in better, versus if I were to cool it down, you can tell that obviously isn't in the same scene. So I'm going to bring that up to about 21, and then I'm just going to lower the brightness just a little bit. So I think that fits pretty well. Now what I'll do is I'll add shadows, shadow here, and then I'm going to add this so it looks like it fits in the scene. Now we can see, based on this image, I'm just going to remove this for a second. You can see the shadow of the glass is actually going on the left side here. So to remain consistent with that, we want our shadow to be on the left side. So do that. Match it up with the product itself, and we're going to put it behind the layer. So there we have it. There's one lifestyle photo which shows the product and how it would be used in this classy whiskey bar scene. Now the fifth one, we're going to do something similar, but I think this is always a good option to add a grid style showing all the different uses that you can actually use this product for. In order to do that, we'll go to the elements. We'll scroll down to the grids here. And you can see there's all these 2x2, 3x3, 4x4 grids that we can use. I'm going to use the 4x4 that is evenly spaced, which is right here. Just click that. And then just how we used these grids before with the circular one showing our up close and personal switch for the product, we're just going to drag and drop images into these quadrants, and then we're going to add our product in the center just to demonstrate that this product can be used in all four of these environments plus more. So for the photos, I want to use one that shows, again, like a whiskey bar cigar lighting scene. I want to show a camping scene where they're lighting a fire. And additionally, I want to show a candle, and then also when we're grilling. So those are four things I want to show that the customer can use this product for. So let's start off with camping, and we'll type in fire. Now the beauty of this is that you actually don't have to put your product in the scene because we're going to put it at the center. But if you want to take a step further, you could put it, your lighter for this example, into each one of these photos. So we'll keep it simple here. We'll show a family with a fire. Because again, you want to show people actually using that product in these scenes. So we'll do that, and then we'll type in grilling. All right, next we have to add our product to the center. So I'm just going to type in circle. And instead of just using the shape here, I'm actually going to go a step further and click graphics, and hopefully we can find one that has some texture to it. Okay, we'll go ahead and use this one. This has a little bit of texture on the outside. It's already centered, but you can move it around until you know it's perfectly centered. And then let's go ahead and grab one of our products that shows it being lit. So grab this main image, bring it down here, resize it. Gonna throw it at an angle here. Beautiful. So this demonstrates to the customer that this product can be used in all four of these environments. Again, you can go a step further and place this product into each one of these environments, or you can even go ahead and add text and say, in the home, you can say to light a cigar, which brings me to my attention. I'm going to actually flip this image so you can see the cigar, and you put camping and grilling and so forth. I think it's a really easy product image that a lot of Amazon sellers use to convey exactly where you can use this product, and it's very quick and easy to create it. Okay, on to our final image here, and this is a great spot to put your dimensions for your product. You could add another lifestyle image or a main feature image. You could show what's in the box, or you can even show your product packaging, whatever is applicable to you. So this is more so a miscellaneous image for you to use. For this product, I want to combine the dimensions as well as with a lifestyle photo. I think a lot of people use this butane lighter for one, lighting cigarettes and cigars, obviously, but I think the second most popular use will be for lighting candles within the household. So what I want to do is I want to show someone actually lighting a candle on a table. In addition, I'll also put the lighter at the bottom, and I'll show how the length of this product, just so people can gain a feel of how large it is. So the first thing we need to do is, since I want this to be a candle scene, let's find a candle that we can use, and then we'll find a table. So I will go to Photos. Here's a good one here. However, it's not lit. Perfect. So this is great. We'll be able to use this candle here, and then we'll use that hand photo I showed you earlier, and we can actually show myself lighting this candle here. So we'll put it in the upper left-hand corner, and then let's find a table. So we'll type in table. Now we need a flat surface, because if you think of this candle, we're looking down from an eye level view. So we don't want the table to be slanted like this, because that will not make sense. So something like this would work, but I want a lighter background. Yeah, we'll go with that one. So I'll position this here, I'll resize it until it's full in frame, and then I'm going to send it to the back. Nice. Now we have what appears to be a coffee table, for example, with a candle on top of it. Okay, so we'll go to the uploads. Let's add the hand picture that we took here. We'll remove that background again. I'm going to flip this horizontally so it appears like I'm actually trying to light it. And then we'll resize this until it's right where I want it. So we'll put it right here. And then I'm going to edit this image just to make it a little bit brighter. Auto adjust. Looks good. Now we need to add the flame, so let's go up to the top again. Let's grab that blue flame. And this would be optional. I mean, it looks fine without it. It could be a scene where you just lit it or you are lighting it, but just for the sake of keeping things consistent here, let's add that here, and then we'll move it behind that layer. Perfect. So it looks like I'm lighting it. We're gonna add shadows after this to make it look even better. But before we do that, let's go ahead, let's add our dimensions. So I'm going to grab this one. I am going to resize it down below here, enlarge it, put it at 0 degrees, and then let's add our dimensions. So we'll go back to the Elements tab here. We will click the line shape, drag this down, and then I just want to show the length. I could show more than one dimension, but I don't think too many people care about the width of this. We really care about how long it's going to be. So let's add those endpoints. Let's increase the width a little bit, and we'll keep it black for now. We can always change it. Gonna move that around, and then let's add text. So this is a 6-inch lighter. Let's change the font to Impact, which is what we're using here. There we go. And we'll move this down here. Just kind of center it there. Perfect. Now I'm going to move these up just a little bit just to space things out evenly. So this isn't too far below. And there we go. The last item to do here is let's add the shadows, and we have our final photo finished. So I'll grab that shadow again. Let's think about the light. We can see the shadow on this candle is on the left side, so it means the light's coming from the right side. Let's add our shadow here. And then let's add one, just a very subtle one down below to the bottom left-hand side. Beautiful. All right, there you have it. So in this final photo, we're showing a lifestyle photo where I'm lighting the candle. In addition, I'm also conveying the length of this lighter. Now the last step to do here is go to the share button in the upper right-hand corner, click download here. I recommend saving it as a PNG file. Just verify that it's 2000 by 2000 pixels or whatever you originally put in the design parameters for the workspace. And then I selected all pages. You can download one separately and then click download. All right, give that about a minute or less and you will have all 6 photos that you can go to Amazon Seller Central, go to your listing, click Manage Images, and then you can upload them there. Click Save and Submit. Oh, one